Hey everyone, welcome to the Dee-Brief with Dr. D, your go-to space for real talk, real strategy, and real leadership, one insight at a time. I'm your host, Dr. D, and this is where we equip leaders for success and empower individuals to heal, to rebuild, and to reclaim the joy they so deserve. We tackle executive leadership, transformational coaching, and also the deep work of healing and restoration. This is where it all happens. Each episode is packed with powerful conversations, expert insights, and strategies to help you lead boldly, heal deeply, and thrive fully. So get ready. It's time to level up your mindset, embrace your transformation, and walk into your purpose. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media because you never want to miss an episode. Let's go. It's time to debrief.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Debrief with Dr. D. Real talk, real strategy, and real leadership, one insight at a time. I am really excited to have this. We are going to have such an impactful and inspirational conversation about a topic that is so important. One that we don't really talk about very often. I want to make sure that my audience gets to hear from our guests. And the episode is entitled Silent Battles, Sacred Lives, Real Talk on Suicide Prevention and Mental Health. And we have a very special guest here that I'm going to allow to introduce himself. But his story of resilience and family and testimony is one that is really inspirational. So, Pablo Sinclair, welcome to the Debrief.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. D, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. So, our topic, Silent Battles, Sacred Lives, real talk about suicide prevention and mental health, is near and dear to your heart. I just want to start that by saying thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for being an advocate for this important topic. I know most of us may not want to talk about it, but suicide, attempted suicide, sure has touched everyone's life some way to this degree. I start my podcast and my interviews by allowing people to introduce themselves. No one can introduce you better than you can. So if someone were to ask you, who is Pablo Sinclair? What would you say?
So I would say, Pablo Sinclair is a husband, a father, a community leader, a mentor, football coach, and just a person that's always here for everyone and a giver, and a giver in life.
Awesome, awesome. So, Pablo, tell us a little bit about why suicide prevention and mental health is important to you and why you have become an advocate for this very crucial topic. And a little bit about your testimony.
Yeah. So it's near and dear to me because I lost my son Jaden Cole Sinclair October 22nd of last year to suicide. He took his own life, and it's the most devastating thing that has ever happened to our family. We've never had a loss in our family, and for this to be the reason is just devastating and tragic in a sense. And I'm a father that's very connected with all my kids. I'm there. I'm present. We talk all the time, and I saw no sign of this. So it's very scary for you to talk to your loved one today, and tomorrow they're gone. So I would want to make sure that, if I can, no parent goes through what I'm going through, my grief journey, and this situation, if you could prevent it.
And my sincere condolences to the children. If something happens in the family, it affects everyone differently. And a lot of times, like you said, we don't know that. So what are some of the, tell us a bit about your story before we get into that the advocacy and the issues that you mentioned. Tell us a little about your story.
So,
Take
can
it.
you repeat that, Dee? You're coming in. I lost some of the words. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay, I'm so sorry. I was saying, tell us a little bit about your testimony with what happened with your family and what you have done, how you've overcome it, and how you're presenting it to help others throughout the church.
So I can't say honestly that I've overcome. I think we're just holding on. Um, every day, every day has its ups and downs. It's a roller coaster because it's so tragic, right? It's one thing to have a parent and them, let's say, being sick, or so I'm Jamaican, and within the culture, the kids are supposed to bury their parents, not the other way around. So that in and of itself is tragic, and a new phenomenon, if you will, for us with that um that and that's right. So um the journey is ongoing. Like I said, it's not over. um and it's just so difficult. Like, I mean, Easter just passed on Sunday. We went to church, and I was crying in church, like unconsolable, because last year Jaden was here in church with us. And then we went to Pine Lawn and put some new flowers down and stuff like that. So that was difficult. So I can't say that we have overcome, but it's a journey. Like grief is a journey,
Yes, it
and you
is.
have your ups and downs. But I just want to make sure that we as parents and as African Americans, we're there for our kids even more so, and especially when your kid, you know, so these kids, you can't really trust them in a sense, right? And I say that with all love and sincerity. I spoke to Jaden the day before. Are you good? Yeah, Dad, I'm good. Every day, Jaden is good. He was a quiet kid, and he was good. We hugged because I'm a hugger, and like I said, we're very, very close. So if this could happen to the Sinclairs, it can happen to any family because we are that close and that connected, and that silent voice that would tell Jaden this is the way out is a scary, right? And there's no answers. There's no answers to the questions, right? But so if I can be an advocate in some way just to save one child with their parents, that's what I think my purpose is as I move forward, to try to live, the remaining life that I have, because it's difficult to move on
Mm-hmm.
when you have lost a child, right? So it's very difficult, but by the grace of God, we can, battle on and continue on.
Yeah, yeah. No, grief is an absolute journey. I don't know if you know, we have a mutual person in common that introduced us. But I lost my parents and my sister all within 5 years. And yes, my father, my mother, and then my sister. And I'm the only survivor left of my childhood family. So
Wow.
I've written a book about grief, and my business, we go around and we help people deal with grief. It's something that I do on a regular basis. I will be sending you the information
Yes.
family. And what something you said was very important, because throughout my compounded grief journey, someone actually asked me, "When will you get?" And it took everything in me to just give them a dignified answer, because grief is a journey,
Yeah.
and it takes time for people to go through the journey in their own way. And I know for me, my faith helped me. So if you can just talk a little bit about how does faith play a role in how it helps you and your family in your grief journey. What could you say to maybe inspire people to use their faith to help them?
Yeah. So if you're a believer, if you believe in God, it's very critical to rely on that, because grief or death takes you to a black. It's gonna take you to a black and a dark place, and you're gonna ask these questions that they don't answers for. Why this? Why that? But if you believe in God, the day before Jaden passed, you have to believe in Him after, right? Or the same day. So you can't just question that. It's God was ready for him and he took him home. Even though I'm hurt and it's a tragic way for him to go in my eyes and my view, you really need to rely on your faith because God's give you the capacity to love and to, to grieve. And you need spirituality to kind of help you understand because the human beings, we cannot understand that death and life has to go on. It's just not natural or normal for us. Hence, the person told you, when are you going to get over it? Because that's a human, natural, normal thing to say. Look, stop crying already. Get over it. But they don't understand because they've never actually walked in your shoe and to feel that tragedy. So I would say faith is critical to kind of help you understand the unexplainable, right? You don't have to be going to church every day or whatever. I'm not telling that, but you need some kind of grounding because you yourself, as the survivor, are going to go to a dark place. And then you're going to have those thoughts that we don't want you to have to, God forbid, harm yourself because you just can't comprehend or understand that. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, right?
That makes perfect sense. And I think it's important for a family also to really do that together if possible, right? Sometimes family members may need to, grieve in their own way. You may not be able to go to counseling together, but if you can, it helps the family unit. I went to see a grief counselor, and it's been a year now since my sister passed, but I'm still seeing her. It's been 5 years for the whole family.
Wow.
Hard to say the whole family, has passed away. What have you done, you and your family, to help with the process? Have you found that counseling has helped you? What are some methods that you
Yeah. So yeah. So I'm a very dominant, strong individual, and not that it was hard for me to actually go to grief share. So because I'm grieving and I'm trying to handle everything on my own. So my wife, someone turned us on to a grief share program, right? It's a Christian-based program. Various churches have it. You can Google grief share. It's it's a structured, organized program, and it walks you through the gamut of grief, from loneliness to the grief journey to anger to regrets, stuck in grief. So it's a whole well-organized program, if you will. And I found myself in that class. We go every Wednesday, and it's very impactful. So my wife and I go together as a couple. We're actually the only couples there. Everyone's just single, but it's black, white, men, women. It's everybody together talking about their loved one and just going through the process and the journey of grief share. So I would say, like I told my little sister Jessica, who we know, grief share is very good. You're not going to be able to handle because it's very heavy. That when you lose someone that you love and it's so personal, you need things like grief share to just go through the various process because you're going through it.
Right.
You're going through it, so it's good to talk about it and to share ideas with other people and just to open up. So I'm a big proponent of grief share now that I've been through it. I find myself actually leading the class, if you will, because I'm a talker and I'm a leader and I'm an inspirational person. So I look forward to going to grief share every Wednesday night. So
it's a great program. Yeah, the program well, and you're right. It's a really, really great program, and it's very helpful for so many people. It's really broad. So it's really great that you're going to that you're helping to lead. That's amazing. I heard you say in the beginning that you're a coach. So, what have you done, or what do you think has been able to help with the other youth who also lost your son?
Yeah, so this is one of the points. So Jaden was a tremendous football player. My son who passed, he went to Holy Trinity High School and he was a star athlete. Then COVID hit. So he's one of these. So that whole COVID phenomena with a lot of kids, it played a role mentally on a lot of these kids. What happened was, they lost a year because the whole world shut down. So there was no football. really a season in his senior year to get offers to get looked. Then the NCAA gave everyone additional year to stay. So coach is not going to take a chance on a 17, 18-year-old when you have a 25-year-old that you have in your program because he needs wins, right? And he has to take care of his family. So Jaden was caught up in that dynamic. And, and so when it comes on to the kids, I'm an assistant coach at Erasmus Hall in Brooklyn. And I talk to the kids about, look, you're more than a football player. Your life is not defined by a football player because everybody wants to go to the NFL, right? Which is very rare. So I try not to kill those dreams, but you're more than that, right? You have to, what if football doesn't work out? What are you going to fall on or fall back on, if you will? So it's just, you don't want to kill their dreams, but, it's very rare. Strive, because we all need a goal to strive on. But what happens after that? And I think that's the piece that we as mentors, as coaches, have to talk the kids through. You may not make the NFL. You may not make Division I, right? Everyone wants to go to D1 and get a full ride to go to various schools to play athletics, but it may not work out. So my next piece is to educate on that, not try to kill their dreams and their aspirations. But what if it doesn't happen? That D1, you're still loved, you're still wanted, you're still valued, right? So with for example, with my son, he wanted to go to NFL. I didn't push that as his father and his coach, but his friends are telling me now that was a big thing for Jaden. Jaden wanted to go to the NFL more than anything else, go to Division I, which I told Jay. I said, Jay, it's okay. If football doesn't work out, it's okay because we're not pushing that. I'll support you in every way I can, but we're not pushing that because you're more than that. And I mean, my son was a straight A student, but he really had his dream. He wanted to be a football player, and it didn't work out. So I think that played a part in him, being where we are today, if you will, without him telling me that, just looking back in hindsight and just hearing anecdotes from other people that knew him, that was a big thing for him. So as it pertains to me coaching, just making sure the kids understand there's life after football. There's more to you as an individual than being a football star in high school, if you will. And if you go to college, great. For D1, D2 is just as good, even D3 if you want to continue to play. But you're more than that. You have more value. Your parents look at you more as who you are, not as a star athlete or lack thereof,
Yeah, we're not our occupation, right? We're not who we are as a person. We are individuals, right? So I'm not the executive. I'm not the football player. I am a person. Jaden is Jaden. So that's really good advice that you're giving the students. So for mental health, right? Because I was talking to someone else the other day, and it's a shame that still in 2025 we are where we are when it comes to mental health and the stigma that it plays. If something's wrong with my head or my heart, I'm going to go see a cardiologist. I'm going to go see a pulmonologist if I have lung issues. But when it comes to mental health, it's still a stigma. So what is it that we can do as a community, as people and people of color, to make it more normal to talk about mental health so we can possibly reach out and help individuals?
Yeah, so I would say, yourself, myself, having your platform, the more we talk about, the more it becomes normalized to do it, right? Because, other persuasions, they go to therapy for everything under the sun. My dog is sick. I got anxiety. I got to go see a therapist. So we as African Americans and people of color need to make sure that it's okay not to be okay, right? And I said that all the time, right? I had a history of cancer. I'm not gonna say I'm a cancer survivor. I had a history of cancer, and it was a prostate cancer, and we all know that's the manhood. So I had to go see a therapist to get my mind right, or the new normal life that I have to live post cancer. So I'm a big advocate and proponent of mental health, speaking to someone. Unpack your burden on Dr. D. She gets paid for that. She's a professional. She could give you coping mechanisms that I can't give you as a parent because we don't have the answers, right? It says it takes a village. I truly believe that because you can talk to other people, to help you to get through that. But definitely, we have come a ways as a people, but we still have a ways to go. So I tell my mother all the time, I probably have anxiety or mental health growing up being your child, but we dealt with it differently. We were a little bit more, I would say, resilient, a little more hardened based on the lifestyle that we have, because our kids of today, we want to give them more than we had. And I'm not sure if it's a good or bad thing that we do, but they're just different. They're just different, these young people, and you have to give them an ear and let them know that it's okay not to be okay. And we need to drill down, right? So what I've learned through this whole episode with my son, Jaden was good every day. So for whatever reason, he didn't want me know that he was suffering. And me and Jaden were twins, right? We talked all the time. And for whatever reason, he didn't want to let me know, Dad, I'm struggling, because he knows I'll get him the help, or I'll go, I'll do whatever I need to do. So when you're a young person or young, I'm okay. What does that mean? What does that mean you're okay? Like, we need to, don't take their word for it, drill down more, and talk to them, especially when we think everything is good, because it wasn't like Jaden was in his room in a dark spot. I mean, he was interactive, so it's really silent. It's not the kid that said, or the individual that says they're going to kill themselves are going to do it. It's the one that don't tell you. Right. So that's the scary piece of this whole phenomenon of mental health. If somebody usually say it, they need help, they're probably not going to do it. It's the person that doesn't say it, in my view. I'm not an expert, but in my view, that usually do it, the ones that don't say anything. You know what I mean? So, and that's the scary part about this journey and trying to help our loved ones through the mental struggles that they have, that is not present to you. You don't see it every day, because we're going to try to help them in whether it's a church, a professional, or whatever. But in my, with my son, it was unexpected. That's why it's so devastated. Unexpected, surprise, like you name it, right? Because like I said, we were present. We are a tight-knit family. So that's why we're all struggling so much with this loss, because it's just difficult, very difficult.
And I truly thank you for your strength and being on here today and talking about this, because it's not easy. Like you said in the beginning, it's not easy losing someone, but when you lose someone so unexpectedly in this fashion, then it makes it that much more difficult. So, with that, I would ask you, for anyone listening right now who is struggling with their mental health and they think that life is not worth living, and it's hard for them, and they're not sharing and they're not talking about it, what would you say to them? How would you encourage them?
So I would say to them that you are, I know you're going through a lot, but your parents, your brothers and your sisters are gonna miss you. So some of these kids, they think, okay, my parents have 5 kids. If I'm no longer here, they're not gonna notice that I'm here. They have others. No, they're gonna miss you. They're gonna mourn. They're gonna sad. Their life is profoundly changed forever with you not being there. And I would just think about them. Just think about how much they do love you. They do love you. They may not say it all the time. They do love you. They care for you. You are valued, right? You are needed. You are necessary, right? So that's it's the people that are left behind to deal with. It's just not fair. It's just not right. We all need to, I could see, like I said, it's just so difficult. And I know people, they're going through it right now and they don't see it, but your parents, your loved ones are going to be devastated. I am so devastated that my son is not here, right? It is just like awful. Like, I'm living right now and it's like guilt. Why should I be happy my son is not here? Right? I have other kids that I have to hold on for to move on, but it's like untapped the future. Like, I wanted Jaden to get married, have kids. I want him to have the same, not that he wanted, but as parents, that's what we want to project because that's what we know, right? And I'm just so devastated that that's not going to happen. I'm not going to be a grandfather because the Jadens didn't get married, have the opportunity in that way. So you are valued, you're needed, your parents love you, your loved ones love you. Do not do it. Do not fight the temptation, speak to someone, do not take your life, because your family are going to be devastated when you are no longer here.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And for those who are listening, if you need to share this broadcast with someone who you know is in pain or may not be speaking about their pain, please be sure to take the link and share it with anyone that you know that may need it. Um, Pablo, I also want to talk about before we end just the family. Um, what kind of advice would you give to the spouses that are dealing with the loss as far as methods of healing? You mentioned grief share, but also siblings, right? Because it's really difficult for the parents, but siblings as well. I know not having my sister here, next month is our birthday. We were 4 years and 10 days apart, so our birthday comes before mine. It's difficult. So, what advice do you have for the spouses and the siblings?
So when you, this is so real, and I'm living this, right?
Yeah.
So, when for the spouses, right? This thing, when you lose someone, and especially, let's say I'm gonna use our example, specifically, when you lose someone to suicide, this has the potential to tear your whole family apart, right? Any death of your loved one, but it's specifically because you're gonna, you don't want to blame each other, right? You guys need to rally together. It could even can bring you closer, or it could destroy your family,
Yeah.
right? And so, we're going through some of that dynamics and within my extended family as we speak, because the grief is so devastating to us. But I would say be there for each other. Like me and my wife, there was no blame game. It was a little bit in my head, Dad, what could he have done differently? Did we do enough to try to be there for him, for Jaden? But we need to rally together, because like I said, this thing could destroy your marriage, destroy your relationship. And for the kids, there's a thing called survival's guilt. Get that out of your mind. You didn't do nothing wrong. This had nothing to do with you for your brother or your sister, let's say, taking their life, or God taking them home in an accident or whatever have you. They would want you to live your life. You are an individual. Do not take on that burden if you can. I know it's very difficult because I have 3 other kids, and I'm very cognizant of their mental health. They're all seeing a therapist to try to deal with this devastating grief, because I could only add antidotes and be there for them. But it's always good to speak to a professional who's trained to give you advice and different things, how to deal with your grief and to go through it, because survival's guilt is real.
Yeah.
It's very real, and I don't want that for anybody's children, other kids that are still alive and still with us. Jaden is gone. I tell them there's nothing you can do to bring it back except be the best Chase you could be, best Kiana you could be, best Kamani you can be, and live life to your fullest, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And this is what has brought us to Jaden. Like I said, Jaden was good. Jaden was good. We spoke the day before of his passing, and he said, "Dad, I'm good." We hugged, right? Next, I'm getting a call that you have to come home. Jaden is non-responsive. So, um, you know, so it's very difficult. And the greatest thing for me personally in my journey, I don't feel any guilt for my son, because I was there for my son in every way possible, whether it's advice, financial, you name it. Pablo Sinclair was there for his son. So I don't feel guilt. I just feel devastated that this happened to us, to him. And, I just wish he could have talked to me. But like I said, there's a silent killer that these kids that tell them, no, lie to your people, lie to your loved ones, tell them you are okay when you're not. So all we could do is try and live this life that we can. It's not easy living this life.
It's not. It's not. And you're doing some really great work in advocacy. I know it's hard. It's in October of last year, so it's very fresh and very new So for you to take on this mantle and talk to people, to help people, to help your family, it's really, really admirable and really shows your strength. You said you're a strong person.
Thank you.
We see it. So I just want to say thank you again for sharing the story of your precious son, Jaden. My prayers are with you and your family. I hope to be able to assist you in any way I can. I'll send you some information. And anyone who's listening, the Suicide Prevention Hotline, you can go to the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene has a website, but you can also go to 988lifeline.org, 988lifeline.org. You can call that number, you can text that number, you can chat. Just reach out to someone if you need help, if you need support, or you suspect anyone who needs support. Pablo, any last words, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so I'm here, like I said, I'm a giver. I was, God don't give us more than we can bear.
Amen.
And like you said, I'm a strong person. This is who I am, and I don't mind sharing my story and trying to help anybody that I can. And I'm here, use me, if you can, if you need, I'm here. But just know that, every day is different. I try to have church in my office every morning and listen to, try to put me in a good frame of mind, because like I said, it's a journey, and there's days when I cry to myself that my son is not here, and it's tough for no good reason in my mind that he's not here, but it's God's plan, but I'm here. I'm positive, I'm happy, and I'm gonna live the rest of my life the best of my ability, like I've been doing, right? So yes, Dr. D.
Our family is blessed to have you.
Thank you.
And everyone that you coach and you support, you are a blessing to the community. So thank you for joining us today, everyone. Again, please, the number is 988lifeline.org is the email address and website. If you need assistance, please reach out. This has been another episode of the Debrief with Dr. D. Real talk, real leadership, one insight. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap of another power-packed episode of the Debrief with Dr. D. If today's insight inspired you, share it, leave a review, and connect with me. Remember, leadership is a journey. Healing is possible, and transformation is yours for the taking. Don't miss next week's episode, because every time we meet, we're unlocking new strategies, fresh perspectives, and bold breakthroughs. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media at the Debrief with Dr. D, so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep leading, keep growing, and always reclaim your joy. See you later. Well, that's a wrap